Hello again. We just saw Magnus take the lead here in Game 5 in the World Championship match, Anand Carlsen. Now it's time for Vishy to strike back in round 6. So let's see what happens. So they're playing the Spanish. And again, Carlsen is going for the Berlin, and this time Anand does what he should have done like in the first game also. He's doing, because he was almost losing that game to Magnus when he was white in the Berlin Endgame. So it's correct to not go for the Berlin Endgame, which is of course this kind. Magnus almost managed to win here with the 2 bishops, but because of some careless moves by him, he didn't win this endgame. So definitely right for Anand to play d3 and keeping the position more tactical and keep more pieces on the board. Here I think we have seen sometimes we have seen games where Magnus takes here and play that structure, but that's apparently not what Anand has in plan here. And it's quite common that even if they can play d5 here, that they used to play d6 because sometimes there can be some kind of a tactical problems for black if he plays d5. So modern computers and theory actually suggest that it's often better just to keep the pawn on d6. It's no hurry to play like d5 Marshall style yet. Another alternative that the computer likes more is h6 here for Magnus. The thing is that this pin can often be quite, if you play the bishop here like you do in the archangel variation, so this is quite similar to the archangel variation of the Spanish, then this pin for white can sometimes be quite annoying. So this would have been a fine way to play for black first, to not allow the bishop here. But he does g6. Before g6, bishop here was not a problem because black could always go back with his bishop if he wanted. So let's see what happens here. Carlsen does bishop e6, and then he does this, and he trades the bishop. And interestingly, Anand takes with the pawn. Yeah, I guess that's fine to open the a file. And Magnus does the Breyer maneuver. We saw him play the Breyer variation with good success, and he also played the Philidor variation, which is typical to have the knights like this. So he's doing the Breyer maneuver here. It's also because now he can move the queen and get rid of this pin. Because sometimes g5 can be too. We have seen a lot of games where Magnus had success with this g5 and bishop here, but sometimes it's possible for white to, not right now, but in some variations it's possible for white to sack a piece and get an attack, but not just in this position here. So Magnus puts the queen here, so now this knight is free to do something. And Anand has also made normal Spanish moves here. A knight on f5 is always an annoying piece to have to deal with. So something that I think Magnus could consider here is maybe g6, but maybe that's too weakening. So let's see what happens. So this is like a backward pawn. So this it's good for black to trade it away, basically positionally. So this also looks fine. There is some risk that there is too many trades, but black cannot free himself by trading because the knight would go here and black knight cannot go here, so he has to sit in this position right now. But now maybe he threatens maybe to take here somewhere. No, not really. So would have been possible here for white to keep the tension, I think. Let's say if you just do something normal like this, then okay, so the computer thinks that black should play around his knight do his own knight f4 stuff then, interestingly. Okay, so Anand is going for exchanges here, and this has been like the team all match that Anand has playing scared and timidly and trying for exchanges and draws, but he's already down 1 point, so he should actually try to play a little bit more aggressively instead of trading a lot of pieces here if he had the chance to do it. So now, of course, the game is very, very equal here. It's quite amazing that Magnus won this game. It looks completely balanced. Like there is no reason at all why Magnus should win this one. So it has to be some kind of serious blunder by Anand here soon. Okay, so why can't it take here? Take. Okay, so white can win back the pawn, for example, like this. I see. So it will be a draw because white will win back this pawn. Black is 1 pawn up now, but he's winning that. So Magnus does something else. But okay, so now So now actually Magnus gets some little bit of an advantage here because these are 2 doubled isolated pawns here, so they're definitely a weakness here. Magnus definitely has a advantage here. The computer doesn't think it's anything, but it's just an uncomfortable position to defend against a Magnus, because Magnus is not believing that white can just sit and play a fortress here. He's just not a believer in fortresses. So let's see if Magnus can crack this fortress, basically. Okay, so that's a little bit weird. Why did Anand play queen here instead of just back and forth here? What can he have seen that he was afraid of? Looked a bit like... Looks to me that black can't do very much, but instead Anand for some reason decides to change the position here by sacking a pawn. Let's see. So maybe he thought this rook endgame is a draw, and he's probably correct. Perfect play, this is a draw, but why go for a rook endgame, a pawn down, when you can just like take some kind of draw here going back and forth? It's a bit weird here. So now black is 2 pawns up, but his pawns are being split, which is not good. It's not good for black to have f and h pawn. They are like well known that you can't even like trade all pawns here and even lose this pawn. This probably is a draw because f and h pawn are notoriously hard to queen. So let's see what happens. Okay, so Magnus decides to sack his b pawn here to have a chance to get his king more active. Let's see what happens. That's probably correct, so Magnus can start to push the pawns. This pawn is still preventing white from getting a passer so easily here. Okay. Yeah, black's chance is to get into the king and start some kind of an attack here. Let's see how Magnus does it. But instead of h4 he does like that. Yeah, maybe he can always go here and then check the king and then go here, maybe something like that. Yeah, now he does it. It's still a draw, but it's black is definitely making some progress here with when his king is advancing. Yes, it still looks like a draw. The risk for white here is that black will like play this, and then they play h3 and takes and move the rook, and then the f-pawn will queen because the white king is so cut off on h2. That's what Magnus is hoping for. So let's see here. So now apparently there was only one move to get a draw. He had to start running with the pawns here. So let's look at that, the way white could draw the game. And this plan, as I said. Yeah, there is just drawing checks from behind, but why is there not drawing checks from behind? Because he cannot like take shelter with the rook, because like white will just check, put the rook here behind, and if black tries to do something like this, then of course he will lose because of this. So why doesn't this work the way he played? Let's look at that. So now black is winning here. Let's look why. So if you would do that, what is the problem here? Okay, and this is winning for black, obviously. What was the difference here? I'm just being a little bit slow and stupid here. Let's see why is this a loss when the b4 was a draw? Let's look at that again. If black does the same maneuver, okay, then he can take here. That's the key. Now he gets queen at the same time. That's the key. White couldn't sacrifice even a single tempo. He had to run with a pawn. So the way I played there, that he could. Let's look at that one more time here. So that when this I don't even remember, but yeah, the point is that the pawn is, he needed to push the pawn so he could get the queen here if black did the right thing and to queen his here. So let's see what happens in the game. So Anand tries to check from the side. Sometimes that's also interesting. I think if I remember correctly, if all these pawns were gone, then this could probably drawing checks here. Let's see what happens. F2. Check. Here. Okay, so this is a winning position for black. Just going here then. It's just this one, yeah. If it's here. And this is winning for for black. Okay. Interesting. So black okay, so this is a winning for black, yeah. Okay, that was an interesting endgame, and it must have been such a devastating blow here for Anand. Now 2 games he loses quite easy endgames. Wasn't this also? I thought here too he loses quite an easy. This is like there is no reason why he's worse here, and he just loses the end game, and it's same here. Like why is he worse? The computer thinks it's 0-0. He just loses, and like he just loses completely drawn end game again here. So that must have been a very, very big blow for Anand, and it's not strange that he didn't manage to get back into the match. So let's look at the next games.